Shit. You done.
Text me and I'll text you back. Text me and I'll text you back. Text me then I'll text you back. You text me then I'll text you back. You text me then I'll text you back. TikTok, you don't stop. I will help you make your paper stack. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at now? 205-964-5243. Yep. 205-964-5243. You know.
Good afternoon. Welcome to June 2022. Been away a couple of days. One of them because everybody was away, and the other time just got away. So we're here to talk about real estate investing with a strong emphasis on wholesaling real estate, low risk, high reward opportunity. Your cash and credit will not matter whether you have it or not. Whether you have great credit or not, it won't matter. Oh, we have Kelly in here today. It's Wednesday, so you know what that means. She's here to share her expertise as an investor slash broker, real estate broker. So a great perspective on it versus what I got going on. So how's it going, Kelly?
It's going great. I love the thumbnail. You should have added the blonde braids just to make a few people mad since they didn't like them last week.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Because they may see more of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Actually, this thumbnail was for yesterday, but we didn't go on. So I didn't think about you. Okay, I get it now. Yeah,
but can I tell you something that I did I've never done before I did this weekend? I need to post it. Have you ever heard of a sensory deprivation tank?
Okay.
Oh, yes, I have. Ooh.
Yeah. Now, Ty, I'm just going to be a guessing woman. I don't think.
Say it again. Say it again first.
It's a sensory deprivation tank.
Tank.
Yeah,
tank, like chamber, like a tank. Yes.
Oh, tank. Oh, okay.
T-A-N-K, tank.
How much that cost?
You know what? It was very inexpensive, and because it was my first time, it only cost me like $30-something for an hour. That's it. I was in Vegas though, but I don't know. But yeah, it only cost me and it's normally like $69 or something there, but you buy packages. So
okay. So they don't have that in Birmingham?
They do have it in Birmingham. They do.
Okay.
So start going. What did she
say?
Okay.
So, and what did it do?
So it's 10 pounds of Epsom salt that's in a chamber. So you float. And you get in, you close it, and you basically float for an hour, and you go into the state of theta, which helps you with a lot of different things. It can even help you physically with like body aches and pains because it's Epsom salt, but then it also helps you clear your mind, relax, think. So have you ever seen Stranger Things on Netflix?
Yeah, I got to watch the new season. I see it's out now.
Once you see the new season, she gets in one, and she starts to bring back a lot of her memory. I'm telling a little bit of the story, but so yeah, if you're claustrophobic, it may take a little bit to get used to, but I almost died, but I'm here, so it's okay.
How long were you in there?
An hour.
So I was in there an hour, but I would say I went into a theta state and I twitched, which apparently is very normal. And when I twitched, I woke up and I panicked because I forgot I was floating. So I didn't really get back in it. I went into they had like an oxygen bar where you can like inhale like aromas. But I told myself I want to continue to do it because I do want to get up to an hour of floating.
Is it like a lot of water or like, you know what I mean?
It's 10 inches of water. 10 inches of water. And actually, I think it's like 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt. I think I had that number wrong, but yeah.
So what, you have to put on a certain type of clothes or something for it, or?
Because you're in the chamber by yourself, you can wear just a swimsuit or something like that. But you have to have they make you shower and do all because you got to have all the oils off your body.
You're gonna float because of the salt, the density, it's physics. Like when you go into like the Dead Sea, everybody floats in the Dead Sea because of the density of the salt you're going to automatically float no matter what.
I need to see it first. I can't give a
It's like
definite yes or no.
oh my gosh. Do you think so? How often do you plan on doing it?
I don't know. When I talk to one of the workers there, she goes like once a week, and I so if she goes once a week, that may be enough for me. But at first I was like I could go every day because it was so relaxing. But I do suggest that you have somebody like I mean I wouldn't I know people that have them in their houses. I'm like I hope they don't do that like by themselves. You can't drown technically, but anything can happen, right? So
Also, I would actually have to.
Yeah, you close the.
I would actually have to.
It's like a capsule. You
I don't
get
know.
inside and you close it.
I don't know. Nah, I don't know.
Try.
No, I don't know.
It's supposed to have be in there.
but anyway, that was my moment for that was my fun moment for the weekend. What about you?
Yay.
What did you do for the weekend?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, what did I do? Oh, my sister and her niece came here for the weekend. Cause they don't want to do nothing, so that's cool. They spend no money, so she's on a coin hunt. She's into I don't know if you call them rare coins. I guess you would. And so I gave her the little change bucket I had. I had actually gave that was more like a something like this, but I had gave a dude away. I gave to a dude a whole like a bucket that you. Well, I don't know if it would be a mop bucket, it wouldn't be, but big enough. It was a decent sized bucket like this. I gave it on, but no, it just people will pay unbelievable amount of money
Oh yeah.
for coins.
I know this.
Yeah, so she just gotten into it, so she knew a lot. Well, and you have to just know me. If somebody started talking about making some money, you're gonna have my attention, especially if it's something that I know what I got going on can afford. So initially, it just hey, this is what I got, and she had several coins she pulled out of my little stash that she thought was worth something, so she got to do some additional research on it or whatever. Anyway, we ain't here to talk about that. So that's what I did. Is we didn't know to answer your question. So
I used to
left
do that
Sunday.
when I was little with
Huh?
quarters.
Me too. I used to collect coins.
Yeah, I used
Okay,
to do
yeah.
that.
So,
Yeah.
There's some people can collect. Like there used to be a coin store over here. I think they moved it somewhere else.
Yeah.
There's some really expensive coins that are worth a lot more money. Like
Yeah.
10 years down the road.
So if you're here to get your questions answered, you want to get pushed to the front of the line, you can text the word Gator to the number, and we'll get you pushed to the front of the line. You have your own personal private seminar. Well, you have some other people looking in on it, but it's free. Text the word VIP if you want a list of my videos in basically a step-by-step order to explain how all this stuff works. My man Greg, he may join us today. You know, on the join when Kelly is here. He suggested that, so I thought I put the best together as possible. Text VIP. All right, you want to partner with us on some houses, on some wholesale deals? Text 5050 to the number, and we'll team up with you and make that happen. Also, just follow the instructions in that video. Same thing for apartments and self-storage. Text the word units to this number. We'll hook up with ya. What else we got? The reason a lot of people fail in this business is because they never figure out what a great deal is. Text the word the letters GD to the number. That'll get you going. So we can go to one or just a contract. Make sure we get that out. Paperwork. This is your superpower right here. Got the right paperwork, know how to fill it out. This video is going to do all that for you. Plus, it's free to access. Let's get it.
All right. So I'm gonna start on YouTube. Everyone's just saying hello. The first one says, How do you feel about calling DNC numbers?
I say don't. I don't think you should call do not call numbers because there are people that love. We are in a suing country, and they will. If they took the time to put their number on a do not call list, they will take the time to make sure that you get fined. So do not call numbers unless they have given you the permission to call them. And there are ways that you can get them to do that by, doing marketing towards that particular area or that particular person. Well, not really that particular person. Facebook has changed a lot, but you can do some marketing to get them to give you their number, and then you can call them. But you can't just cold call a do not call number that has not given you their consent to call them. That could get you into some hefty fines if you do. What you think? Oh, okay.
What she saying? We're gonna go with the legal side.
Because one thing about it, we're going to call them anyway.
Now, let me but no, can I tell you this really quick thing that I learned I learned this from an OG, like she was the older white lady. And she was just, this is before we had like these automated numbers. And she was just like, it was a little bit of untruthfulness, but she literally was just like, you just get a stack of numbers and you just call them and you be so, I was like, no, 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 no. But she was about her money, so.
Who's next?
Okay. Someone said, man, I really wish you still did comps and ARV.
We do. We do.
It's just different.
We personalize it for you. We do. That's manpower, man. Well, the way we were doing, yeah, that's manpower. Or now you mean the show? That's something different or whatever. But
yeah,
FUP. Text FUP.
All right, this one says, can I use the end buyer for a proof of funds when dealing with the realtor?
Sure. If you already have, I mean, that's essentially what realtors do when they are, have an agreement with their buyer. They provide the proof of funds from their realtor, from their buyer to the listing realtor. So if you have an end buyer already set up and you know that that'll be a property that they will want to buy, and you know that they have a proof of funds, you can absolutely use that as the end buyer.
Okay, let's see. This one says, Flip man, I appreciate you. The game you get for free as well as your limited payment classes are surely on point. Okay. This one says, what's the best way to find hot zip codes?
The best way. There is a heat map in PropStream. I'm trying to think of the best way without using a resource like that. Zillow. So go to Zillow, go to sold, and in that, make sure you click it to just sold, and even go to just sold in the last 90 days. And wherever you see those little yellow dots, a cluster of yellow dots, that's where your hottest zip codes are going to be. So if you see 10 dots bunched together and then you see 1 or 2, 3 or 3 spread it out, then you know that where that cluster is going to be your hottest zip code. That's the best free way you can find where your hot zip codes are.
Yes. Or just to add on to that, using Zillow still, we're just talking about a free method. You put in the name of the city or market. Well, it's a couple ways you do it, but and this is more of some data mining, but it's going to have to pretty much be what am I trying to say? It's going to have to be done manually. Now you could hire somebody off a Fiverr and they'll probably do it for $10 or $15, for you. But the first thing you need to do is identify the zip codes for a particular market. And what you'll do is you go to Google and do Birmingham, Alabama area zip codes, right? Zip code list, probably what you want, right? And so uh, what it's going to do is you're going to have to go to a couple of different sites. I think the one that spells it out really well for. I'm trying to go through it right now. I hadn't looked at it in a minute. Yes, okay, here it is. Let me see. So there are 119 what we would consider area zip codes in the Birmingham market, right? Now, some of these are, but that's Metro Birmingham, so that's cool. All right, so what you'll do is, so once you get that list of zip codes, and you can have the person from, you do it yourself, and obviously just time may take you a couple hours to put it together. So you'll go to Google Sheets. I'm just giving you all free methods. Go to Google Sheets, which is basically an Excel spreadsheet, and you'll create a 3 columns. Let me see. You'll create the zip code column. You'll create the sold column, well, I think you only need 2. I'm trying to think through it because I hadn't did it in a while. Because we don't do it that way, but trying to give you some free methods. You're gonna put the sold column. So number sold. So the zip code column is the actual zip code. Then the number sold is the number of properties that are sold in that zip code. Okay, so once you have that sheet, then what you'll do is, or the VA that you hired from Fiverr, is they'll go through and they'll put in each zip code in Zillow. So the first thing you do, say if you put in one zip code in Zillow, we're going to do 35209. You'll, as Kelly said, you'll go to just hit sold under the filters. You'll go under house type and deselect everything. If you only want to target houses that are sold, you want to deselect all and then select houses. And then under more, as she mentioned about 90 days, that's where you can put in the sold in the last, you can do 1 day, 7 days, up to 36 months. So ideally, like she said, 90 days would probably be a good range. And then once you do that, it's going to show how many properties have sold in that zip code. So I just did that for 35209 in the last 90 days. It's 123. So you take that 103 results and you go put them in your sheet. Next, go to the next zip code, do the same thing. So now before you know it, you have a full database of zip codes that show you where the most sales are happening. Normally that means where the most sales are happening or the hottest zip code in a particular market. Now it's up to you at that point on, do you want to go at the top 5 hottest, or you may go to the next 5 or top 10. So it's up to you on what you want to target from that point. But that's a manual way you can do it. That's free. Once it's built, right? And again, you can hire someone off of Fiverr, 10, 15 bucks. They'll probably do that for you, knock it out fairly quickly too. So, and that's an inexpensive method to do it, unless you're going to do it yourself, which would be free, just be on your time. So hopefully that makes sense. Anything you want to add on that, Kelly?
No.
All right. The first question on TikTok: can I use the same technique to teach that you teach in Germany?
I'm not familiar with the real estate laws in Germany, but like I answered that question, I get that question often. If the real estate laws and the contract laws are similar to the U.S., then more than likely you can. So that's what it's all going to boil down to. So being able to transfer a real estate, number one, if it's similar to the U.S., and then your basic contract laws as far as assignments and all that stuff, if it's similar in Germany, then oh yeah, the world is yours. Germany is yours. Give me a German word, Oksana. Nine is yours.
No, that's not.
That means 9 means no.
9
Oh.
no.
They don't know.
They probably do. Okay.
Give me yes then. What's the yes?
Oh God.
Yeah is yours.
All right, this is on Instagram. What tools are needed to begin virtual wholesaling?
Can I go first?
Yeah. I was gonna let her go.
As long as you have one of these and the internet, that honestly, you can always figure out the rest. Like you don't even really need a computer. You can go and, I mean, it's public libraries that still have computers. But as long and a lot of the stuff you can do on a computer, it may take you a little longer, but you can do it on your phone. So as long as you have a phone and an internet and the internet, you can do virtual wholesaling. I mean, that's truly all it takes. Now, obviously, it's great to have a laptop and some other supporting systems and software to make things easier. But just getting going, just if it's your first deal, it's all about relationships and connections. So if you are, a part of some Facebook groups or in this chat, I mean, you may find somebody within this chat that this on this platform that Flip puts up that you can connect with someone and be boots on the ground and go and make some connections with other wholesalers and even sellers. But you can do virtual wholesaling with literally just two things: a phone and some in the internet.
Yeah, most definitely. Like we were using Zillow again, you could literally. I was explaining this to students in the accelerator class last night. I don't know how it came up. Oh, I know. One of the students, she started doing this. It's not like it's a secret, and I don't try to, it's enough money out here for everybody 10 times over, and then some. So, simple thing you can do, you can leverage Zillow in the sense, um, you just choose a market, right? Say if you say, I don't know, let's use a decent sized market. Let's use Detroit, right? Go to Zillow, search Detroit, Michigan, and you go to for rent, and what you can do is you select the property, and I wish you all could see this or whatever, but you select the property and you scroll down, and what you're looking for is listed by property owner. Okay, so like one of the lists I'm looking here, it says property owner, but it's a business entity. It says M and G Management. Okay, so that's not really what we're looking for as far as trying to find an opportunity. So I go to the next one and I scroll down, and it says listed by property owner, Mrs. Willis. So Mrs. Willis' number is there. Now, sometimes Zillow will provide them a number. It is more of like a screening number, but this is probably Mrs. Willis' number. So now that's free make. So what you say, well, why would I target Mrs. Willis and she's trying to rent the property? Here's why. Okay, so we got the largest group of individuals that own residential real estate is landlords, people that have rental properties. So that means the largest group of people that may be motivated to sell are tired landlords. Okay, so you're being proactive using this tool, the internet, that's free. Well, in the sense that it's free because it's on your phone or whatever, or however you use it. You reach out to Miss Willis and say, I'm calling about your property at 1923941 Charis Avenue, trying to see if it's still available. She says, well, it really don't matter if she said yes or no. Say, well, I'm not calling about renting the property. I'm calling about purchasing the property. Would you be interested in selling it? So Mr. Willis says yes. If she says yes, then you'll just collect the necessary information needed to evaluate the property, see if it's an opportunity. Obviously, you want to try to get a price out of her, but she may not. She may want you to, make an offer. So you might not have an offer ready to go, which is fine. Just let her know you'll call her back, if not that day, by the next day. So, but assuming she says no, so your follow-up question will be, well, do you have any other properties you may be interested in selling. Now, if she says yes, then same thing. You collect the information needed to evaluate the property. And so, if she says no, then you just think of for a time and boom, 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 or whatever, and let her know if anything changes. Now, if you really are being now, if you have tools that you making, well, you don't always. Well, I don't know any other way that you pay for, such as prop stream or AK Dealulator, however we want to title it, and I'll get to that in a second. You can see how many linked properties somebody has, meaning how many other properties that they own. So once you know that possibly going in, it may increase your chances of getting a deal. So why do you ask about another property when you called about this property? Because the property that you called about may not be their problem property. One of the other properties may be the problem property, or multiple properties that they own may be problem properties that they're tired of managing or owning. You know, they don't want to let this one go that you called about, but they may have another one. And so that doesn't cost you anything, but just putting in the work and the time. So literally the entire country is your playground at that point, just using this. And in a lot of cases, their contact information is already there. So now you don't have to worry about a DNC list, because they publicly put their number out there, right? Okay, now that's one avenue of taking it. Now, whenever you go through some of these, they're going to have property managers there. They're going to also have as listing the property, because they're managing it for the owner. And you'll sometimes see realtors doing the same thing. With that being said, those could be potential leads to buyers. Some of the property management companies are the actual buyers. They're just managing their own properties under that entity or whatever. Or they have clients that want to buy more properties. And yes, in most cases, they're going to be interested in hearing or knowing about more properties that their clients can buy. Guess why? That means there's more potential revenue for them collecting rents, and they get paid off gross rents collected normally for them to manage. If their clients buy more property, that's more money for them to make and manage. So yes, that one tool is enough. Now, of course, like I mentioned before, if you had one more thing here. If you had I'll find it here in a minute. But anyway, so if you had here we go. If you text the word tool, the tool I was talking about, where you can see what other properties they own, becomes very valuable to you. You may run across someone and you find out that they own 30 properties, you know, in that market, maybe in Detroit. So that may be an opportunity. You never know. You may be able to pull 5, 6, or maybe in the whole package. They may be ready to get rid of that whole portfolio to you. On the flip side of that, yes, we're talking about wholesaling. They may not give you a price that works as far as a cash wholesale deal, but these people are renting properties because they like cash flow, right? So this may be an opportunity for you to transition that, say, well, you know, that price that you gave me, Miss Willis, it really doesn't work for us on a cash deal, because we would like quite a bit lower. But would you be open to some terms on it? We can remove the landlord from you, and you can still collect cash flow on this property. So what do I mean by that? That's where owner financing come in, where the owner of the property basically acts as the bank, and you pay them directly. Now you want to negotiate something, obviously, where it's still cash flow for either you or someone you wholesale the deal out to. But that's another negotiating option that you may have, especially with landlords, because they like the cash flow, but they may just be tired of what comes with being a landlord. People not paying you, tearing up your property, right? And then you got to re-renovate it. Or you just may be as simple as chasing your money. You're getting it, but you're chasing it every month. And the repairs and stuff that come with it, and, you know, people burning your house down and all like that. According to the insurance, should take care of that. Or when COVID hits and you don't get your money for, I don't know how long, for 15, 18 months. Who would have predicted that? So there's a lot of tired landlords out there. There's already, period, but COVID is definitely, they'll strike you down on YouTube using that word. I'm not saying that negative. So, but that may be an opportunity. Is what I'm saying. I was trying to be funny. So anyway, I don't know what else I can say.
All right, we have
Anything you want to add on that, Kelly? Before I go?
Oh no.
All right.
all right. We have a question on Instagram. Do I need to get the contracts notarized after the seller and or buyer signs them?
No. Well, not in the state of Alabama in most states. You do not have to get the contract notarized by either the seller or the the buyer.
Hey, do you know what I looked up last night? While on this training deal last night, did you know most states, unless this was inaccurate, most states are dual agency states?
Yeah, it's only a few states that won't allow dual agency,
Okay, yeah,
which
okay.
is kind of weird.
Florida's one of them. I don't know. It's not that many. It's very few. But Florida was one that stood out that won't allow dual agency.
Mm, mm.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Oh, what is dual agency?
Ken said explain. I'll let the realtor explain. The broker explain.
So as a licensed realtor, you hold your license with a brokerage. A brokerage is actually that holds the state license, your license for all qualified brokers, associate brokers, and sales associates, which are realtors, or real estate agents, because not all real estate agents are realtors. That's whole another conversation. But and so whenever you represent let's just say I say a client, but a seller client, if you have an agreement with that seller client, you actually have an agreement with that broker, with that qualifying broker or that brokerage. You don't have an agreement with you as unless you're a qualifying broker. You don't have an agreement between realtor and agent. You have an agreement with the brokerage. So once that seller agrees that the brokerage can list their property, market their property, and sell their property, and they go and find another buyer, the buyer, if they are represented by an agent, if they are under dual, if the state allows dual, that means that either that agent or another agent within the brokerage or that qualifying broker, whoever holds that agreement, if that one brokerage still holds that agreement on that same deal, so buyer is buying property A from seller, then they are under a dual agency because they have two licensed professionals that are working essentially the deal on that under the same umbrella, under the same brokerage. And so there are a lot of people, well, there are not a lot of states, but there are some states that do not allow this. So they don't allow, that means that the same seller's agent cannot represent the buyer's agent, or either another associate within the brokerage can't represent the buyer's agent if the seller's agent is representing the seller on the same deal. I hope I just explained it the best way. But so essentially that's what dual agency, and you have to get consent whenever you are doing dual agency. So if I was representing the seller and I brought a deal to the brokerage and we have that listing, and then either I am representing the buyer or one of my other colleagues is representing the buyer, then we will have to get consent from the seller, and we will have to notify the buyer that this one broker, the qualifying broker, this brokerage is representing both seller and buyer on the same deal.
Oh, I got a follow-up question.
Well, yeah. How can that benefit you where an agent can represent both sides? If you're making an offer, if you're going to deal in that world, which I don't advise newbies to do, but if you're going to deal in that world, so you don't need to bring your own agent to the table, right? Part of you educating yourself is to understand the process of putting a real estate deal together, closing and everything. All right, so you wanna let the GREED factor, you don't know what that means, greed factor work in your favor because you're giving the agent an opportunity to make the full commission. What and most people may not know this is that a real estate agent is paid on commission, right? So we'll just use 6%, which is a normal fee. It could be less, could be more, just whatever you negotiate, but that's the normal fee, 6%. It is more. It is rare that an agent finds their a list of property, get a seller list with them, and they find the buyer too. And more, what happens in most cases that another real estate agent will bring a buyer to the table. So that 6% now has to be split between those two agents, before their brokers get their cut or whatever too. But so that's 3% now. But if you're going to make an offer on a property that's listed and it's in a dual what's it called? Dual agency. Then it's best to just contact them directly because now you're giving them an opportunity to make more money, even though the price that you offer may be significantly lower than what the list price was. And they may make more money than they would have if they'd have sold it at that price and another agent would have brought a buyer to the table. So, that's why I was somewhat brought up last night. But I didn't. I thought it was probably a lot more states that didn't allow it, but it's very few that don't.
No, because especially as you get more of these flat fee brokerages that are expanding, and there have a lot of agents underneath these flat fee brokerages. It doesn't make, in my opinion, I think that dual agency should be allowed in every state because if you don't allow it, then they're saying that you have an ethical issue. It's not really a matter of, because the broker, unless you're a broker, you don't make that full whatever the commission that you've negotiated with the seller. Nobody makes the full commission. Even if you're a brokering your own, you still you should have a team. So when they pay out, they pay a percentage to the brokerage, they pay a percentage to the agents, even because you even have to pay a transaction fee. Even if you're a flat fee brokerage, they usually have a transaction fee that you have to pay per transaction. So it should, especially with most people starting to negotiate commissions more than I ever seen, I think that it actually it gives more of an incentive if they have the opportunity to go out and find a buyer for other agents to go out and find a buyer and a seller, or make more connections with wholesalers to represent both sides for sure.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna go back to YouTube. This one says, is there a number of bandit signs you recommend when targeting certain zip codes? I was thinking around 10, but I didn't want to oversaturate.
You shouldn't laugh at that.
Y'all mean?
No, the last part I didn't read. I should have read ahead of you, so I raised my hand.
It may not be just a zip code, but within a quote unquote neighborhood area. 50 normally is a good number. We'll say 30 to 50. 10 is it's okay. It's a start. You're doing something, but that's not nearly enough for a particular area. So
yeah. All right. Let's see. Someone said using the dilutor, isn't that pretty much double closing since you're using 2 purchase and sale agreements?
No, it's not. What they're talking about is that what he said using dilutor, but he's saying using 2 contracts instead of 2 purchase and sales agreements. All real estate transactions start with a purchase and sales agreement. So 2 ways of putting deals together is either assignments or double closing, but they're getting confused because instead of using a purchase and sales agreement and then you and the seller, and then doing an assignment contract with you and the buyer, they're confused because the way I explain it is that you actually use two purchase and sales agreement. You do one at one price with the seller. We'll just use some easy numbers for 100,000, and then you do another contract with your buyer. We'll say for 117,000. Okay, so the difference between those two contracts is $17,000, which you'll be paid via an assignment fee. It's just that part of it is handled at the title company slash closing attorney level, whoever is actually closing the deal. So I know it can be confusing because you probably watch some other stuff or whatever, but I think I try to explain it. Plus, I have a video, a closing detail sheet video where it's basically an additional document to the two contracts that basically explains who's the seller, who's the buyer, the address, of course, the price, who's paying what, who's receiving what, naming your assignment fee, who's paying the closing cost, and a comment section there to maybe contact you or whatever you want to put there. But I have a video on that. You can text the word close, CLOSE, and that video will explain and show you how you can access that document.
All right. Let's see. This one says, "What if a motivated seller asks for proof of funds?"
They're not motivated, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, they're not motivated, but if I noticed it a lot in the areas where there are a lot of what I call the fly by night wholesalers. They come in and then they don't show consistency after they get something under contract, and they leave them hanging. Because you got to think about it. People that are selling their houses, they're usually only done this once, maybe twice in their entire life, especially this kind of way. So when I see that, that means that they've been burnt before. Honestly, I think that someone has promised them the moon, stars, and everything, and then they ghosted them. So, and someone has told them about proof of funds. Maybe they talked to a realtor because they didn't know what to do next, and they talked to a realtor, and the realtor probably told them, start asking for proof of funds. Or it could be an investor themselves that they only want to sell. They only want to do business with someone that's serious about getting it done. But don't ever let that stop you. There are multiple ways to get proof of fund letters out here. You can just simply ask someone for a proof of funds letter if that's something that they need to get the deal done. I'm a big believer in, like, whatever people ask, I'm just gonna go and try to find it if it's worth it. Worth your time and energy of getting those resources.
All right. He said this one says the rebate seller, motivated seller. I'm not sure. Called me back and said another month till he gets letters.
It's probably probate.
Probate.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Also, yeah, it's so if someone if someone just passed away, in their family, and they had it when it wasn't set up in like a trust or anything, and it's getting probated to the heirs, that process, hands down, no matter what city state you're in, is going to take a minimum of 60 days.
Okay. This one came from Victor. He said, "How can I join your mentoring program?"
Just text me.
Okay.
I'll
964
go to the free.
All right. This one says, "The attorney wants to use another title company. Is this a deal breaker?"
The attorney? They don't they normally have those relationships with multiples. Maybe he's not asking that right. Because it's irrelevant to you who the attorney wants to. If the attorney is closing it,
Right.
the title company they use is irrelevant to you.
Right. It sounds like if someone else is doing the closing coordination, someone else is taking care of the closing details. It sounds like maybe, I don't know what situation, if you are representing the buyer and they have a particular closing attorney that they go to, or if you're talking to a seller, but it looks like you are using someone else's resources. So if you're using an attorney, they already have their own title company that they run title search and everything through, and you can get title insurance through. They don't change their process up.
Okay, let's see. This one, you hear it?
I
This
hope they
is
don't cut us off. She was a little loud today with her prepping.
It's not that much singing.
yeah,
Oh,
It's just that little.
I
but
can do
it'll
that.
pick that up. It don't have to be singing.
Oh.
If it's copyrighted, it'll pick up too. That's good. Which I'm sure
Um,
it is.
Gotta talk over it.
Mm.
this one says, when present in a double closing to a cash buyer, do you let them know it's a double closing?
You don't have to. You don't have to. If it's a double, as long as they're closing on their portion of the agreement, I mean, you don't have to let them know it's a double closing. Um, because what's going to be put in front of them is the CD, which is the closing disclosure, which is the HUD statement that is going to show what, and they've already known before they get to the table what portions, if they have any capital at all to bring to the table, and everything that is coming out of their side of the closing. So they don't need to know what the agreement was from the seller to you, unless you have some type of relationship with this cash buyer that they just need to know. But most cash buyers, really really real cash buyers that want the next deal, they're going to tell you, bring me another one. They're not going to say, how much did you get paid? They're not going to do that.
Yeah, I don't even, I don't know. Well, uh, if you have a problem how much I'm making, that's really something I don't want to deal with. If you don't see the benefit of me making you some money over and over again, it's about relationships. We good. We find somebody else or whatever. Um, so double closing, whatever, been fine. Not really my preference, but everybody is getting out of the deal what we agreed upon. If you're dealing with someone that has a problem, they know you're not doing it for free. So what's an acceptable amount for you to make? If the price that we agreed upon works for you, that's just me.
Mhm.
I don't want I don't want the relationship. If you're not going to be repeat, I don't want the relationship. You don't get it. Hey, this ain't the only game in town.
Mhm.
All right, how do you wholesale a property that's already listed with an agent?
Oh, that's
What's
it's
that?
it's easy, but it does take a few more steps. So if it's listed with an agent, you would go into first. You would need to. I go back and forth on this. Most contracts are not assignable, so but you would need to get the contract. You need to get the deal under contract with the agent, and you may have to do a double close on this one, but I think there are some ways that you don't have to. But you'll want to basically get the deal under contract, and to tell you the truth, a lot of realtors won't ask for proof of funds if the house is in distress, um, but some will. So you will need a proof of funds. You will need earnest money as well to get it under contract with an agent, because they have to provide due diligence to their client. And those are ways that they provide due diligence to their client. And then once you do that, you basically, I know there's some people that have special contracts, that will say that this contract is assignable, or I have the right to market this, but it's really about that relationship with the agent. I really don't like doing backhand stuff. I like just finding an agent that understands what you're doing, because they understand that you're going to bring them there, you're going to do more deals with them. So just tell them, like, hey, if I can't buy it, I'm going to have my other partner buy it from me, but if we can get the deal done at whatever the price is, at this price, I can get this deal done. And you can wholesale properties all day off of the MLS once you have an understanding with the agent. Now, this agent will need to have some assurances. They need to know that you'll be able to close because again, they have a due diligence to their client. Let me just go back and because I see a lot of people trashing agents, but they have to understand like if a seller ever gets upset with them and ever wants to take them to the board, the commissions, they can get their license revoked, they can get them suspended, they can pay a hefty fine if at any point they have found the agent guilty of not having proper due diligence to their client. So that's why it's so serious with some agents, and they don't want to deal with people that they haven't verified as like the real and true deal. Um, but so anywho, I digress and say that you can do it off of there. You will need the person sales agreement. You will need to be able to assign it. If you can't, you may have to do a double close. You will need a proof of funds. You will need to have earnest money. If you don't already have your buyer lined up, you need to have them lined up so they can pay your earnest money, and then you'll assign that same contract to the end buyer. But the biggest things about selling off from an MLS or from an agent is you need to have your numbers right, because the deal doesn't make sense if the numbers are not right. And most MLS deals are going to be market price, even if it needs work. It's going to be market price minus repairs, and that's it. So just remember that those few things.
Yeah, just to back that up, y'all know I'm harsh on agents, but that won't stop. But
next year we're gonna see you talking about you have your agents, your license. Not your agent.
Yeah, see,
Sure.
I now if you experience, yeah, the world is yours. My primary goal is to give people the easiest path to a check, right? I don't think dealing with a real estate agent starting out is the easiest path to a check. For what she just explained. Earnest money deposit, proof you have the money. The agent's personal financial interest is first. At the end of the day, the more they sell it for, the more they make. The cheaper you get it, the more you make. Off the top, you all are at a resistance. As she said, if you find an agent that's, gets it, hey, good. The first thing I think you do, if you're going to go down that path, you first need to establish a relationship with a buyer that will want to deal with you, want you to bring them deals that was listed on MLS. Because a lot of buyers have the attitude that you didn't find anything I could have did myself, right? Because they could have made just blind offers all day. Some of them do it, but some of them don't. It's not how they operate. But if you got a buyer, and I call them lazy buyers, you find one of them, please hit me up too. I want to know them too. If you're willing to share that, you just, hey, go find me some, they don't care where they come from. The money, you know what I'm saying? This is what I want, boom, boom, boom. Oh, the world is yours. So now, yeah, you have the negotiating power if you know that buyer is going to be okay with you just pulling stuff down from MLS. So you really need to establish that relationship with that type of buyer first, or buyers first, because that's going to be the key of putting those deals together. If you don't, I'm talking about for people starting out and they don't have any money. That's who I'm really talking to, which is a lot of people. And when I say not any money, you don't have $1,000, not even $500 to risk on earnest money. You don't have a method of a proof of funds. Because that's normally going to be the hurdles that they're going to, and I get it why agents do it, because whether it's a wholesaler or somebody that's trying to buy a house to live in, they want to know if they're not wasting their time or not. So as long as, number one, you have the buyer, don't just do that, and you don't have that buyer already lined up that's going to be okay with where it comes from. That's the first thing. If you can establish that, then yeah, hey, the MLS is yours. But you got to establish that relationship with that buyer first.
I want to add something to that I didn't mention is a good way to, when you say the path of least resistance, I can't get it out. Going to meetups or going inside of or network, any type of networking, whether virtual or in person. And if you see agents that are already there, those are the ones that you can, they already understand it because they're there, and you can build that relationship. But also, you don't even have to wait until they're on the MLS. You can say, hey, give me a call if you get anything before you list it, because it's not required that the agent is listed on the MLS is a marketing platform. Now, once you do sell it, a lot of the times because you're in the MLS, like they will, they will put it in there and then they'll close it right out. Um, but agents don't have to list it. That you can be their first call. That once they get a deal that fits something that you're looking to buy, and they know that their seller wants to close really quick, and they're looking and they're open to cash because they're ready to go super quick. You can be their first call. So it's still good to have that relationship because there are always agents at the end of the day. They just want to get the listing sold. And if you can do it within 20 days and they know you can and you have those resources, and I say know you can because you've already built that relationship with your end buyer and you know what the end buyer can do, then that will work too. Now, the big thing, if it's on the MLS, the value that you're providing to the end buyer is you scout the internet, the MLS, and you found a good deal. So you've renegotiated a good deal, even if it's been on the MLS for 60 days. Now you renegotiate it and you say you put them into an offer that makes more sense, because a lot of times agents just don't like to drop the price, because then when they start dropping the price, then everybody's coming in and they're going to start offering them pennies on the dollar. So they don't like to drop the price um, before, but they will but they are required to take all offers back to their sellers. So you can still just make your offers, and if they say no, they say no. You go on to the next one. He's like, nope.
Nah, again, I ain't saying not do it. I just say just for newbies, that's just a difficult road to take. Most people don't have the resources and the knowledge. It's some of the questions I'll get like, well, um, um, what contract do I use? Well, we stop right there. You don't need to go down that road. If you got to ask that question,
You don't.
no, 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 no,
Yeah, you need
no.
to get a few. You need to understand the process a little bit more before you start adding in MLS deals, realtor
Yeah,
deals.
that's the point. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we have a question on Instagram. How soon should I start using the CRM system? Can I use a separate phone instead of a software?
Yeah, the internet, smartphones, this stuff, the real estate existed, the wholesale existed for all of this. Oh, all of this stuff. I knocked the mic down. Hey, it existed for all this stuff. So yeah, it's just the tools just may make it a little easier to do. But yeah, most definitely. Yeah, you got to work with the resources you have available to you. That is the name of the game. Until you can get more resources, after you close a deal or two, work with the resources you have available to you. As Kelly said earlier, if you have the internet and a phone, no matter even if it's a landline, you're in business. But you gotta have access to the internet. I say you gotta have access. It'll be tough to do it without it, but it can be done. It'll be tough. It'll be tough. Y'all agree?
You gonna have to go somewhere with a Wi-Fi connection.
It'll be tough. I guess you go to the library. A lot of people, I talk to people all the time
Starbucks.
that they in the library or whatever.
College students do that all the time.
You know what I'm saying?
You got Chick-fil-A might have Wi-Fi.
Yeah. It's a lot of places.
Most restaurants.
It's plenty of places you can go to Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
But we see, we keep assuming that they have a device that will do that.
Yeah.
That ain't always the case now. That beam up Scott is still out there.
You
Yeah.
know what's still if their legs are still working, door knocking still works too.
Oh yeah. Oh, you definitely
Just
motivated.
have your piece with you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Speak with me.
The key is not going. You go into the prettiest neighborhoods with the ugliest houses. You with the ugly house. So try to go in. Well, you don't know anymore. Yeah, let me
I was
stop.
about to say, I don't
Everywhere
know.
now, like it's
I
crazy.
don't know.
Everybody is on edge.
Crazy too.
I know.
All right, we got one on TikTok. Oops. All right, will the seller know how much you make, or do you need to ask the title company for a blind hood? You might want to have to identify blind hood.
Well, yeah. Okay. So let's define HUD first.
Okay.
Basically like an invoice that details as a seller side and a buyer side. I think they call it borrower side or whatever.
A
On a lot of hoods.
borrower.
Borrower.
Okay.
So basically selling the buyer side. And so it basically just shows who's getting what, who's paying what, who's getting what, who's paying what, right? A receipt basically, or invoice. So in that, it also shows, or it can show how much you're getting paid. So his question is, how can you? So they already know. They say use a blind HUD. So a blind HUD it shows the seller only sees their side and the buyer only sees their side. So they're signing, same document per se, but they only seeing their fees and what they got to pay, or their fees and what they're going to receive on the seller side. So the assignment fees are on the buyer side. So the seller won't see that. And you all guys, I wish I could when you see one of those documents, they ain't that easy to read. Number one. Now you got the people that go read every line, but normally they're gonna read the side that matters to them, right? They want to see when the attorney come in, if everybody there, the attorney will say, "Oh, this is what your check gonna be." That's the only thing they care about, unless it's a lot less than what they thought it was gonna be. Then they may want them to break it down more, which the attorney normally will go through the fees or whatever, but they really just looking for that number at the bottom, what that bank wire is gonna be for. I'm talking about the seller and or the check that they're gonna give them. And at the end of the day, you got what we agreed upon. I'm not doing this for free. You can always have unreasonable people doing a lot of deals over this time frame. I had one lady to literally let me know she was unhappy with the assignment fee, right?
How much was it?
Well, it was two of us on it. So, well, let me tell a brief description of the story. Basically, it took us 6 months to close. In that time frame, I had a partner on this deal, one of my friends, and he was giving her money in between that time for her to survive, right? She needed money or whatever. So with the agreement, it was being taken away from what she was going to receive at closing. So in that time frame, when her check was done, when it was time to pay, she only received $8,000 or so, right?
Oh, she realized.
No, she knows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm gonna get to it. And so mine was only 12, right? Something like that. It wasn't much. Well, I say much. But my boy, because he had been paying his, should only been like what mine was, but his was like 22, because he had to gave her right around 10 grand over that time frame. Right? Hers should have been around 18 or so, which would have been more than both of them, but he had been giving her money. And so, Tyrone, this ain't right. So I show up at the closing, and the attorney, which he dead now, I'm telling Father bless his soul, they had already made concessions for us on a Friday for us to close after his closing hours, because I did so many deals with him or whatever. And so when I get there, she just rared up because he had just showed her the HUD. You know what I'm saying? So she like, Tyrone, this ain't right. Y'all making more money than I say, what's her name? Oh my God, I can't remember what I'll think about it in a second. But anyway, I'm gonna say Miss Johnson. I don't think of that, but Miss Johnson. I was like, now you know Eric has been giving you that money over this time. I know. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. I say, but he's been giving you money the entire time we've been about trying to close this deal or whatever. And so well, go ahead, just redo it, Mr. Falson, and you give some of my money. He said, no, if I redo this paperwork, this won't close until Monday.
Right.
So, so she was not leaving that without no check. You know what I'm saying? And so she said, no, we'll go ahead and close it or whatever. I call this joker. He ain't nowhere to be found or whatever. He the one been dealing with her. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we closed the deal, and all she had to say was, but I didn't feel like I owed her no money because we didn't, like I said, money had been given to her over the time court over 6 months period or whatever. But I would have given her probably 2, 3, 4 of my money, or whatever at that point. All she had to do is say, hey, the banks were closed by that time, but the next day, Saturday be open to noon or whatever, So all she had to say was, well, Tyrone, let's just do this. Meet me at such and such the bar, and you give me, blah, blah. And I would have did it or whatever. But my point is, that's the only time that I've actually had a seller to say something or whatever. Because normally everybody is so happy on closing day. The seller's happy. The buyer's happy because they get what they wanted. The seller get what they want. The title comes, the closing attorney, hey, they getting paid, and you happy, right?
What would have happened to Eric if she decided not to close?
Huh?
What would have happened to Eric if she decided not to close?
Oh, he just lost that money.
Dang.
He just lost that money.
That was a lie he was giving over the time.
Yeah, he just would have lost that money. Yeah.
I would have been crying. I would have been crying.
But that's a good time to educate them on a capital gains tax too. Because what was she gonna do with the extra money? Because she would have been taxed on all the extra money as well.
She didn't give a flip about that. I can assure you, she didn't care. Hey, I can assure you, she didn't care about no capital gains tax. I can assure you, the federal or state government never got a dime of that. But it was an inherited property. Her parents had left her a property, and over there in Bush Hill, the house was 4,600 square feet. When we went in the house, when I went in the house, she had treated it as storage. She had so many. I said the house was 4,600 square feet. You couldn't even see the floor. She had so much stuff in the house.
Not a hoarder.
You could walking on clothes throughout the entire house. And it really wasn't just dirty or nasty. She just had just stuff just all out through the house. I mean, this is why she ain't got no money. She shopped too much.
It is dirty and nasty because you can't clean.
Well, I know. I'm just saying, but it wasn't like like you see some harder house and be stuff here. I'm like, wow. So anyway, long story short, they had left the house. When they left the house to her, it was free and clear. She went out and got a equity line on wherever it was, owned it for I think 40,000. No, I'm sorry, 25,000, and stopped paying it. And they were going to foreclose on all that.
I was about to say, I already knew when you told me she was mad about that. She was not even good at money with money anyway. So $4,000 more wouldn't have changed her situation either. Everybody's not gonna pay before the close because anything could have went south and they out their money. Like your friend risked giving her that money up front to keep the deal alive, but she literally could have walked away and sold that house, to someone else. Yeah, you can go sue her, but then that's more money out your pocket.
Oh man, you ain't gonna sue. You wasting your time. You sue somebody ain't got nothing.
Exactly. So that's why I have a thing about guys, do what's right, be kind to people, but don't don't be overly kind, because when I've done that in the past, you always end up being the one on the short end of the stick.
Hey, look, to end this story, I saw her probably about like 5 years later, right? I saw her at the Dairy Queen right down here in Pella, not far from where we are now.
Dairy Queen, I love
She
it.
was so happy to see me. Yeah, I ain't getting nothing wrong to her. Huh? She was, Carol, what's up? What's going on? How you doing, Miss Johnson? I hugged her, you know what I'm saying?
That's good. She
Hey,
should have brought you a
all
Sunday.
that report, man.
So,
I ain't getting nothing, Miss Johnson. I hope she spent that $8,000. That 18,000. She spent 18,000. It just went all in one lump sum. They gave her folks' house away just like that, man. You know what I'm saying?
I know her parents. I'm probably.
They were dead.
I know that. I'm just saying,
You
like
guys say it like that.
they were dead. I know that. I
It
know
ain't funny,
that
but
the
you know what I'm
spirit
saying?
should slap her because
Hey,
that's terrible.
she's the only child, so you know.
Your parents work all their life and you just like squander it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, she that well.
I think that's so disrespectful. I could never do my mom's home like that.
Well,
I
you
could
ain't-
never do my mother's
you
home
wasn't
like
in Miss
that.
you wasn't in Miss Johnson's position. So Miss Johnson went out and got that loan for $25,000. Stopped paying the payment. They were going to foreclose on a $150,000 house for $25,000.
I could never do my mother's home like that.
Well, it's just stuff. It can always be replaced.
I mean, I know, but it's just stuff I'm not gonna mess up.
It's just stuff.
I ain't gonna see my mama in
Might be
heaven and she
jacked
be
up.
like,
Might
I
be
seen
hooked up
what
with
you
the
did to
wrong-
my house.
Hey, you been hooked up with the wrong dude. He just got you just messed up in the head, baby. You making bad decisions. Just how it go. That's life, right?
The ghetto. Do the topic.
Hey, so anyway, what's the topic today? Tell me. I didn't even say it in the beginning, did I?
Yeah, you did. What's the best way to use? Hold on.
Oh, we already talked about it in detail.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about it the whole show. What's the best way to use real estate agents?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've been talking about that.
I know if it was something specific you wanted to say.
Huh? Well, I know I come off sounding negative, but it should be a very positive thing dealing with real estate.
yeah, can I give a few that I would say what's the best way to not use real estate agents?
Okay.
It says it's been temporarily locked for suspicious activity.
Oh, okay. That's the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a win-win situation. Just grinding. For whatever reason. I guess the biggest hurdle is the money. At the end of the day, it just boils down to a lot of people just don't do quick math in their head and see that if you're dealing with an investor / wholesaler, that's repeat business over and over again, right? If you know you have a seller that's probably is really motivated to sell for real, but because the agent is quote unquote, I'm going to do the best for my client and blah blah blah. Okay, that sounds good, but at the end of the day, you know you're trying to make more money because you sell it for more. That's fine. That's human nature. Your bills matter first, right? Okay, so but it should be a beautiful relationship because if you have a client that will, I'll tell you what, my second deal. I can only remember my first and second. I can't remember nothing after that as far as sequence. My second deal, right? This lady called me. House over there in Power, in the hood, quote unquote, right? The agent listed the property for $49,000. Was not livable, Powderly. Now, y'all Birminghamians know, right? 35221, right? And so she called me, and I can't remember what her name was. She called me, and she said, what's your number? I said, Mr. Taylor. They like to say Taylor. I only have this property is listed with an agent, but I only have like 3 more days before the listing expires. I said, well, what you all trying to sell it for? She said 49,000. I said, I can't come close to that. Whatever her name was. She said, I know it. I said, I told him when he listed it for that much, we couldn't get that much. I said, well, how much you willing to sell it for? 9,000. Didn't even haggle with her. I only sold the wholesaler for 12. You know what I'm saying? Because you couldn't do much more than that. The conditioning and you know what I'm saying. He was trying to get retail for it, and it wasn't livable. I don't even know why I'm bringing that up. Where was I going with that? I don't know where I was going with that.
The real estate agent.
I know that, but I'm saying, oh yeah, it's to work with because the seller was willing to take something reasonable on it, but the agent, you know, because what's 3% on 9,000? Y'all don't know, $270. What's 3% on basically 50,000? It's $1,500. I'm saying 3% because normally they're not gonna get the full 6%. They're gonna have to split with another agent. That's what the difference in that deal. I ain't saying that's with all agents. I know that with that situation, but you rather have those singles coming in, those that volume coming in. You know, you still do your listings on the ones that matter. And, you know, they ready for the market, and you know they'll sell fairly quickly. Well, you still do those, but those ones that you know needs a lot of repairs and stuff, and you know now you could be moving them just constantly if you're an agent, just constantly. Like some get it now. You got your Kelly Mees in the world, they get it. I don't think listings are her thing or whatever, but I'm just saying. But they get it. Some agents get it, but most don't. That's the crowd I'm talking about. Most don't. So anyway,
Yeah.
your thoughts, Kelly?
Yeah, I was gonna say like use agents for relationships. And this is when I say use. My dad always tell me it's okay to use people or allow people to use you. Just don't allow them to misuse you. The same thing with other people. Is people want to be used. They want to be helped, especially if it's a lucrative relationship. So he was able to negotiate that deal because the realtor had a relationship with the seller. And because think about it, if he would have went straight to the seller, he probably would have hung up on him. But he had the relationship with the agent, and they talked and they went through numbers, and they, so now they have this relationship. Now you can utilize that relationship. But the biggest thing that I get into my inbox is, hey, can you send me your buyers? I have some deals. Now, I've heard people doing sharing of buyers. I'm fine with that. I give you 100, you give me 100. Now we have 200, right? But if you are asking someone as on a one-sided, can you give me your buyers? I have some deals. You just cut them out of any type. We're commission based, just like you. Like I'm a wholesaler as well, but wholesaler when I'm doing a listed deal or an agency deal or a wholesale deal, I've worked off a commission for almost 10 years. I don't know any other way. So you can't just say, hey, let me give me your buyers.
People will ask you that. Just give you instead of saying, multiple. Hey, I got this property for sale. Do you have a buyer for it?
Multiple people.
Meaning that you can make money off of it.
Multiple people.
Wow.
And I'm not just saying a one-off. There are multiple people that would say, just give me your buyer. Either give me your buyer, give me your buyers. Multiple people.
But that ain't nice.
They said questions are free.
It's the audacity for you.
And it could be a number of reasons. They may, like you said, they may have a distaste for real agents. They may think that agents mess up deals, whatever the case may be. But you still don't. I mean, that's something. That's a relationship that I have built. I don't mind actually sharing buyers, but I usually share buyers with people that we are. Everybody is helping each other out. Like everybody is trying, because there's enough money in the game. But if you are more of a misuser, then I'm going to ignore you. And then also CMAs. Honestly, it's a lot of CMAs. I don't know what that industry is going to look like in the next few years, but there's so much information here where you can run your own comps. Please don't ask a realtor to go and run a comp on a property that, you have access to all the information that they have, literally, to run your own comps. I mean, you have free training every day with Flipman. You have so many YouTube videos. You have everything that they have. They don't use anything additional other than maybe logging into the MLS. But other than that, you have everything that they have in order to run a CMA. So I wouldn't use realtors in that capacity unless it's something a larger deal, like a commercial deal that takes a little bit more knowledge. But for a single family house, like CMAs are something that I wouldn't utilize an agent for. I would build real relationships and so that you guys can do a lot of deals together, just as you build relationships with other wholesalers to do a lot of deals.
Oh, well, what Kelly down?
We went long today. We had a good one. I saw the comment. Someone was like, "You got to take care of Michael on the next one." He said that we were doing too many tangents. We weren't answering questions.
Oh, me?
He said we, yeah, all of us. We were on tangents today.
Talking about me. That's fine.
We went to deprivation tanks to houses.
It's in the banners.
Okay. All right. So,
okay.
Kelly, we got your thing up here before they start thumping over here.
Yeah.
How do they reach you?
Yes, come on over, and actually, you can't really see it, but subscribe to my YouTube channel. You're gonna see a lot of content coming about how to build and develop land, not just nationally, internationally, which would be awesome. There's a lot of opportunity to build even outside the United States. So you're gonna see a lot of content coming about how to build land and how to work with developers, even if you have land to sell. Ty, can I tell them we've teamed up? I asked you and then I said it. We've teamed up. We're buying property left and right. So send the deals over to the deal later on Ty's website. Send them over. We are here we got a team behind us. We are here to try to buy as many of you guys' deal as we can. But yeah, that's what I have going on.
Boom. So before we get copyright slapped, we appreciate everyone showing up today. If you didn't get your question answered, post it in the comment section of any video, and I'll answer that on a daily basis. This will go in replay mode on all platforms. Best experiences here on YouTube. We appreciate Kelly sharing her knowledge and calming me down from screaming like a madman. We'll see you on the flip side.
Text me and I'll text you back. Text me and I'll text you back. Text me and I'll text you back. You text me then I'll text you back. Text me then I'll text you back. TikTok, you don't stop. I will help you make your paper stack. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at now? 205-964-52439. Yep. 205